The wind howled across the lonely stretch of the high desert, carrying with it the scent of dust, sagebrush, and fear. When Cole Hartman first heard the faint, strangled cry near the edge of his ranch, he thought it was just the wind twisting through the canyons again. Then he heard it a second time, sharper, desperate, the kind of sound that punches a man straight in the gut and demands he do something. He swung down from his horse, boots sinking into the dry red soil, and walked toward the old split trail fence. And then he froze. A young Apache woman, no older than 20, was tied to the wood posts, with rawhide straps cutting deep into her wrists and ankles. Her long black hair hung in a tangled mess, her face streaked with dust and dried blood, yet her eyes dark, unbroken, fire-filled, burned with a strength that startled him. She lifted her head and whispered hoarsely, "Do whatever you want, cowboy." "I'm not afraid." Cole sucked in a sharp breath, shaken by both her courage and her condition. "Ma'am, I ain't here to hurt you." But she didn't believe him. Not yet. And that was only the beginning. Cole carefully cut the straps, his hands gentle, his breath tight with fury at whoever did this. When the last bond snapped, the woman collapsed against him, too weak to stand, but too proud to ask for help. "Name's Cole," he said quietly. She hesitated, her voice thin but steady. "Nieli." He'd heard that name before, the family of an Apache leader whose territory bordered his land. Rumors said tensions were rising, cattle stolen, horses taken, men going missing. Everyone blamed the Apache. But looking at Nieli now, Cole knew the truth had another layer. He lifted her easily and set her on his horse. She didn't protest, though she held herself stiff, ready to leap if he tried anything dishonorable. "Who did this to you?" he asked. Her eyes darkened. Men wearing white hats. But dark hearts. Cowboys. Ranch hands. Settlers. Cole felt a cold weight settle in his chest. Back at his cabin, he tended her wounds. She watched him constantly, observing, measuring, judging whether this man could be trusted. "You should have left me," she said quietly. "My people will come for me, and they will think you took me." "I can handle that," he replied. "You're only one man." He smiled faintly. Sometimes one man is enough. For the first time, her expression softened. As the hours passed, she told him what little she remembered. Ambushed while gathering sage near the foothills, dragged across the valley, gagged, tied to his fence like a message or a threat. "Someone wants trouble between our people," she said. Cole agreed. The question was, who? That night, a fire crackled in the hearth. Nieli sat wrapped in a blanket, her face glowing in the warm light. Cole tried not to stare, but there was something in her presence, quiet strength, unbending dignity, that filled the room more than the fire ever could. "You look at me like you are not afraid," she whispered. "I'm not like most men." She studied him carefully. "No," she said at last. A fragile thread of trust formed between them, thin but real, until the gunshot came. A bullet punched through the window, splintering wood, slicing past Cole's shoulder. He grabbed Nieli, dropping both of them behind the table. Voices echoed outside. "There, that's where she is. Grab the Apache girl." Nieli's breath trembled. "They followed me." "No," Cole said, adrenaline burning through him. "They followed me." Cole moved quickly, shoving her toward the cellar door. Not as a powerless girl. As a warrior acknowledging another warrior's command. The door slammed shut just as 3 armed men kicked through the front door. Cole recognized them instantly. Neighboring ranchers, men known for trouble. "Well, looky there," one sneered. "Cole Hartman, harboring an Apache." "I don't know what you're talking about," Cole said flatly. They laughed, spreading into his home like rats. "We tied her up as a warning," the biggest one said. "Kenny went and saved her." "Bad move, Hartman. Mighty bad." "Why?" Cole demanded. "Why target her?" "Because folks trust her father," the man spat. "That tribe's getting bold. Thought we'd stir up a little panic. Enough trouble and the army will wipe him off the valley." Cole felt heat rush to his face, rage so fierce, his vision blurred. "You're cowards, and you're dead." The fight that followed was brutal. Chairs shattered, fists cracked against bone, boots slammed into ribs. Cole fought like a man with something to protect, something worth dying for. The largest rancher lunged at him with a knife, slicing across Cole's arm. Pain shot up his shoulder, but he didn't stop. At the moment the knife arced up again, the cellar door flew open. Nayeli burst out, her eyes blazing, a heavy iron poker clutched in her hands. "You will not harm him," she shouted. And then she fought, swift, fierce, fearless. The ranchers hadn't expected resistance from a woman they thought broken. She struck the knife from the man's hand, knocked another to the ground, and Cole finished the rest. When the final rancher fled into the night, bleeding and terrified, silence fell heavy. And Cole leaned against the wall, panting. Nayeli dropped the poker and rushed to him, pressing her hands to his bleeding arm. "You saved me," he whispered. She shook her head. "No, Cole. We saved each other." By dawn, the Apache tribe arrived, warriors led by Neely's father. They surrounded the ranch, weapons ready, expecting hostility, expecting deceit. But then Nayeli stepped forward, weak but proud. "This man protected me," she said. "He risked his life for mine." The warriors watched Cole with hard, unreadable eyes. Then slowly, the chief lowered his spear. "You have shown honor," he said, "by more than many of your people. It was the beginning of peace. Not perfect, not immediate, but real." The violence of the night was exposed. The guilty ranchers were arrested by the sheriff. And the Apache tribe and Cole's neighboring ranchers began long, difficult talks. Fear did not vanish overnight, but respect began to grow. As for Cole and Nayeli, something deeper blossomed with time. One evening, as the sun painted the sky pink and gold, Nayeli stood beside him at the fence where she had once been tied. She looked at him with a soft smile. "When I told you, do whatever you want, Cowboy, I thought you would walk away. I knew then exactly what I wanted, you," he said simply. Her eyes glistened, not with fear, but with hope, and she slipped her hand into his. In the end, the story wasn't about a cowboy saving an Apache woman. It was about two souls, choosing humanity over hatred, courage over silence, and love over the boundaries the world tried to build between them. And that choice changed everything. Message: when you stand up for what's right, even alone, even afraid, you become the spark that changes the whole valley, the whole world.